Okay, guys, back at you for some more BTC-oriented funds. Misty and Coney, I did YBIT. So obviously, Misty has done better, but it's had the same pull down, if you will, retracement that many of the Bitcoin oriented funds and have, right? The Misty within Yieldmax, it's the Misty and the Coney and the YBIT. So what happened today? Okay, well, we had some trades, but again, the sheet has a whole bunch of trades, so I'm going to tell you rather than drag it over. But basically, we added 305 contracts because people bought into the fund. Well, let's see what each fund did. So we went up 0.69% in Misty, or sorry, in Mr. MSTR. We went up 1.06 in our actual Yieldmax income fund, Misty. So we won that, right? Remember, I had been tracking, and when I get to X dividend date, I just give you that summary of the month. And what does that really mean? It measures every time one underlying versus the Yieldmax fund wins. And so a minus zero point 0.2 means that Misty, I do it relative to Misty. So if you see the zeros are there because I just pulled down the same date and showed more contracts. Otherwise, it'd be rare to have a zero where they tied. So here, this fund, MSTR, went down 7.52. We only went down 5.36. So we won by 2.16. So I track it through the entire month and say, okay, we won by we beat the performance of MSTR by 6.93. Well, that becomes easier in a flat to a down environment because we're raking in income along the way. We don't get capped at all. So when we don't get capped, we don't have an issue because we have income. We're going to win that percentage, right? And we started off on the new path at 0.37. So when you run aggressively up is when it's hard to keep up. You may go up 100% and the underlying might go up 300%. And you got a yield along the way. That's pretty awesome. But somebody's going to say, well, you're better off owning it. Well, not if you need the income, right? Well, you could sell, we've all heard that. So in my mind, just a reminder to newbies and people coming in, there's nothing wrong with owning the underlying for the growth aspect and getting capital gains and getting less taxes, but there is something for those people that need income. And this is a great vehicle. And you're going to get some capital appreciation if the stock's moving up, even though you're not going to make sometimes as much. So for me personally, I would tell that person that says, oh, well, own the underlying. I'd say, well, if it's moving up aggressively, why do I want to own the underlying? I want to own a 2x of the underlying, right? I want to. And by the way, on those 2x and leverage funds, I don't recommend you use margin on them because they have some kind of built-in decay in them, and you don't want to sit and just own it for a long, long time. You want to use it for what it's intended for, extra leverage on the way up. But again, margin and all that stuff's always your own decision. I don't ever badmouth. I've seen people use margin fabulously and triple and make 10 times their money. I did it in the precious metal scenario in 2000 to a certain degree. It's just when the market does go down poor, bad, if you don't have enough insurance in place and you're in margin, then it just makes that leverage awful, right? It forces you to liquidate things that you might not otherwise want to liquidate. So just always be cautious. Buy these things if you're bullish. I mean, Misty, look at this. How many shares were bought? 1,375 new shares. It's like 11.4%. Why? Because people see it on sale. They know that Misty has been the GOAT on yield, NVIDIA's the GOAT on performing, right? And they paid more last month, but it's also a situation of in a 4-month basis. If you go back 4 months, they've outpaid NVIDIA. Nobody's had a $3 payment. Nobody's had a $4 payment. I'm sure some will eventually, but Misty has. And, BTC for the last years is really the GOAT in terms of outperforming any other asset class. But remember, with that comes volatility, massive volatility, and that's what we're seeing right now on the pullback. So those of you that are bullish, amen to you. It's awesome that you're choosing to buy this if you're bullish and I'm bullish, I'm nibbling. I'm just not convinced we're at the bottom yet, and I'll buy more. Sometimes buying that confirmation when you went down, you don't get it as cheap, but you rest and you sleep better at night. But I also have some insurance, so there's not much reason why I shouldn't be buying a little more here. Okay, guys, enough of that. Let's jump in. So they put this 305 contracts on, and then they did a synthetic, a buy, call, sell, put on the 305. So what did it get them here? It got them 587,000 in the piggy bank. Okay, so let's go look at the synthetic. Oh, nice. Yeah, because they're well out of the money, 1290 versus 1550. And the bad news, though, being down 16, almost 17% out of the money, they only have 9 trading days, peoples. Next Friday, this Friday is 7/12. Yeah. And next Friday is 7/19. Now, again, what are they going to do when they roll this? I can tell you they're going to do like Ybit. It's not going to kill us. They're simply going to maybe go to a 1550. That all gets determined based on where the Mr. price is. But even having a $57 million loss, they're going to buy it back for whatever the loss is, and they're going to write a bunch of contracts, out of the money quite a ways, and they're going to recap that money back. So in essence, it's what the government does. It kicks the can down the road, keeps on spending. That works until it doesn't work. I personally am bullish on BTC, and I think they're smart enough to know with the volatility that eventually they're going to pay off that debt, right? That paper loss. And they're able to put yield out only if Bitcoin just will not come back. And it's proven that it almost always does. And it stays at 20 or 10,000. Yeah, you'd have a reverse split and it'd be really ugly and you'd have little value. But do I think that's going to happen? I don't. Is it a remote possibility? Sure, anything is, guys. So, especially the newbies, you seasoned guys that are buying on, buying this when it's down, kudos to you. You're smart. You know what you want to do. So go for it. So what it did, we had 1 million before yesterday. We got another 7,600,000, and you can see it by, this is what it costs us to buy the call. This is what we sold the put for. But again, we have a paper loss of 57 million. Okay, let's get into holdings. There's only a few things. You don't care where the cash is sitting. Okay, so 57 million, and that actually was down from 58. Okay, but it's coming up, right? But again, we'll just roll and kick the can down the road and we'll be fine. So we got 34% collected. Our new 305 came back right at what we sold it for. So we're dead even on that with 4 trading days. We've collected 38% of this guy because it's up at 14.10 every day that goes by. This will probably be $9 tomorrow if we hang around this area. $10. So it's just going to, we'll collect the 5.125 million unless we really take off. So where's fair value? Again, 11.41% of new shares. All right. So 24.59 is fair value. Is what we closed at, and they're saying assets and NAV should be 24.77. So, we're selling at a discount. So kudos again for buying it. Let's look at payouts and let me let you guys go. So here's this nice new 8.6 million, but look at the share count. When I put this in before I updated the share count, it was like in the dollar something range, right? So the good news is we're collecting on both sides of the aisle here, 33 cents and 96 cents total, right? So that means 63 cents is collected over here and 33 cents here. Um, so a lot of that's all positive, guys. Again, I still like to report on what that liability is. But, with Misty, they're going to pay you. So I don't worry too much on that side of things. Okay, guys, that's what I got for you. I still got Coney to do, and I'm going to be working on a couple more funds that I've promised coverage on. Okay, guys, again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. It's for fun and entertainment. Hope you were entertained. Please like and subscribe. I'm really trying to grow the channel. I'm adding some more Yieldmax. I'll be adding detailed coverage on some of the other fund families based on some of the requests I'm getting. Have a good one, guys. Bye for now.